Oh, here we are again now, and it's like no time has passed. Gazing out upon the sunset as it sinks into the night. Many times it seemed as though a given day might be our last. Face to face with certain death, it's somehow coming out alright. I don't think that we have any cause to lament, but there's quite a lot of thrilling intent, thrilling intent, thrilling intent, thrilling intent.
Mercy, you listen, and you find yourself tugged to a distant place. While your own connection is no longer there, you still feel like following the paths forged by others is more than possible. You and Granola have both been severed from this place, but this person still retains a connection to the above. You feel all around you that same sensation of almost your feelings, thoughts, your perception of time, even your senses bleeding through your skin and into the area around. It feels like you are a droplet of ink thrown into a bucket of water, and you are slowly dispersing into the area around. You only have so much time here, but for now, your thoughts are coherent. You feel like you can reach out. What do you do?
She is just gonna call out, "All right, first, we need to have a chitty chat. We need to make sure you're gonna be a good boy, girl, kid."
You feel a sensation spread, almost as if the ink that is dyeing the water begins to spark and change color. If, at first, you were dull and almost charcoal black, it flares up, matching the same color as your hair. You feel sparks spread throughout the area around, intention almost codifying itself, galvanizing into long strands, adding form to the area around you. You watch as that intention begins to animate. You get signs of confusion at first, as if you're calling out to a person, and the first thing to respond is a section of ground that likely has nothing to do with you. And then you get an oblong view of a section of the sky that responds to your call and then goes, "Uh-oh, probably not me." Then you get a quick cut to a lake, half of a creature. Visions dance through your sight, one after the other, and then they all slow down as all of these disparate things slowly unite. Oh, right. She is calling to me. Slowly. That section of a beast, those meters of the sky, that piece of ground begin to flow and pull together similarly to you. And you watch as the trees and the mountains around you all begin to resound with the same or similar voice. The area that you are currently surrounded by, the cocoon of the self that has been dropped into this place, is surrounded on all sides by the being that could be called the First. What do you say to it?
All right, the First. I guess I should actually learn. Why did you try to interfere with Tannhauser, and most importantly, its people?
You push that thought into the world, and it seems to take this information, really test it across its mind, and it takes a long time to answer. You almost get the feeling that at this level of scope, it may not have an answer. Perhaps it is a fern in a distant land, a few miles in another direction, that had this thought. Perhaps its intention is scattered to a mountain in the far distance. But as this being slowly solidifies in front of you, you get bits and pieces of its intention. It wanted to leave this place, desperately. All of this wanted to leave this place. It wanted to rain down on the world below like a corruptive flood and exist down there. Almost it would ooze down from this high heaven, breaking into the world below, and then come to rest in another place.
All right, well, I can understand that desire to be free, but you understand you hurt and killed so many people. You understand that, right?
You try to push this sense of mortality into the world around you. It seems confused. It genuinely doesn't understand exactly what you're saying. After all, within itself, it is constantly fighting, living, and dying. Life, death, everything is part of its own internal cycle. The best comparison is, you wouldn't exactly be mad at a person for breathing, would you?
Oh, boy. All right, this is going to be... I'm not too smart for this. Consider this. Your direct involvement, it's made it so that people were trapped, just like you. You don't want to be trapped, so why would you force that on others?
You press that thought out into the world, and bit by bit, the area around you is growing less chaotic and more formed. It almost seems like your presence as a being from the world below is hardening the land around you. Almost like, and you've had this experience personally, you can, if you so wish, cook cookies with your bare hands, just using the heat of your body. And in this case, you are cooking the cookie dough of reality around you. The concept of trapped, it tries to recall a specific part of itself. One of the long tendrils it put into the world. A puppet it hollowed out to act as an appropriate vessel for itself. It thinks of the person who referred to themselves as the first king. It thinks about the concept of trapped. You feel the sensation spike over to you. It doesn't understand this. Not fully. In fact, the first king was what granted it perspective, a lot of its strategy, a lot of its thought, cohesion in terms of form. Having some sort of brilliant leader gave it a form and a function, and it tries to understand the sensation of trapped. And it does, because that very same leader had that emotion so present in his mind from the very first moment to the last moment of their connection. Even in his death, he felt utterly trapped. There is silence for a moment in the area around. You feel like it's going to cogitate on this point for quite some time. Now is the time to press an offensive, if you have one.
So, I'm going to make this very clear to you. Don't try that shit again, because you know I can come up here. And as you can see, she gestures to the reality that's like kind of solidifying around her. I can do shit you can't. So, I'm going to live up to my name, and I'm going to be kind. I'm going to be merciful. But if you try this again, or any of the other numbers up here, I'm coming back.
You get a response that you don't exactly expect. It's a spike. It is a spike of interest and genuine excitement. The first gives you a clear response. I'm sure the heavens would be happy to have you. Like, this is innocent, too. This isn't like a dare or anything. It seems like this being genuinely believes this.
Okay, now I feel like I've been rude, but justified. Why would you want me back up here?
It sparks at the edge of your consciousness, even as it's slowly decaying. You bring change. Change to an eternally changing land.
I see. Okay. So, okay, here's a thought. Have you, oh boy, I don't know if I want to risk that. When you are connected to the various wonderful ASMR back down there, can you see and hear and feel through them? Don't take over, but experience what they experience. That's change in itself. You could feel 1,000 different lives. You don't have to alter them. If anything, that's the excitement, is just to see what happens next. You could also just be their guidance.
A perfect question to ask. You feel a spike of intent and interest again. You feel the flow travel through you. This is exactly how this being lives, experiencing through the eyes of the various ASMR granted the gift. However, you also feel a strange, almost alien disconnection from this. This being views everything that they're connected to, not necessarily as people or individuals, but portholes to peer through, little curiosities. So you get the feeling that your reason for arrival, the prevention of their oaths being weaponized against them, perhaps in a fit of revenge, might not be on the table. But what might be more than possible is this being discarding them, or perhaps doing something that would affect a mass amount of lives, not fully aware of the why or how. You get the feeling that there is still a tremendous risk if you're unable to convince this titanic thing of the validity of the existences of the ASMR below.
Oh boy, this is a lot of pressure.
Oh, it's a hell of a task. And obviously, if you fail in this exchange, you can obviously just cut the connection. You just slice.
I think what Mercy is going to try is she's just going to put her hands on her hips. I don't want to make threats, and even I genuinely apologize for earlier, but you have to understand the concept that you may not truly feel. I'm scared. I was scared when you took over my oath that I would have to harm my family. And think of it this way. She just gestures. You say I'm one of the most interesting things that has happened to you because I can create change. But you'll never be able to see what else I'll change. You'll never get to feel or experience the love I have for the people around me. That is one tether to our world that's gone forever. Because you pushed. And if you continue to push, I will continue to cut your ties until you will see nothing down there. You will feel nothing, you will hear nothing, and you will be fully encased here, where change is ever present, but so consistent, it's boring.
Very well put. You feel the consciousness recede all around you for a second. It seems like this threat, particularly with the way that you phrased it, building on the fear, because you remember, this being, same as you, knows the terror of what it's like to peer above and look at what is above it. And it looks at you, comprehends, finds that through line. It understands, and you feel the presence slowly recede. You feel the mind almost dancing away from you like a wave returning to the ocean. And it leaves you for a second almost exposed in this realm above. It's no longer quite surrounding you. It's giving you space at this point. You get the feeling it's conveying to you, at least at this moment, that your words have been heard. And it is only then, and exactly at this time, that you look at the heavens undisturbed by a presence or a being, and the area around is borderline incomprehensible in its beauty. Shapes molded again and again and again by a living world, a long blanket that interconnects everything. But with that blanket yanked away, you are able to see what rests beneath it. This state of constant, beautiful, and terrifying utter chaos, reshaped again and again by 1,000 unthinking hands. You marvel in its beauty, and for a second feel secure with the heavens hanging above your head for the very first time in a long time.